Hi, my name is Tia Quin, and I am an evolutionary astrologer here in Washington. I live in Port Townsend. I started studying astrology seriously probably like 5 or 6 years ago, and did an apprenticeship with Kaypacha, and that's my main teacher for astrology. Beyond that, I've done a lot of self-study. And today I'm going to be talking about the transforming cosmic feminine and bringing Venus, the moon, and Lilith into present times and how that is all unfolding. I think this subject is important. We hear a lot about the divine feminine and, what does that mean? What does it mean in our charts, and how can we integrate that energy and elevate it back to a place of balance with the masculine? So what is the divine feminine? The divine feminine is yin energy. It's receptive, it flows. If you look at, our feminine elements, the earth and water, and even our earth itself, for example, it's Mother Nature. It gives birth to all creation, and it's intuitive, wild, chaotic. It's being, and it's the perfect counterpart and complement for the masculine. The divine masculine is yang energy. It does, it acts, it creates. It strikes like lightning, and it's the sun inspired by nature it inhabits, and it seeks to penetrate life's mysteries. Logical, left brain, it's order and structure. And the rise of the feminine is not gender specific at all, and it affects both genders, though it does benefit women a great deal to be alive when equality is actually going to be a possibility between genders and becoming more and more of a reality. The rise of the divine feminine is about elevating the feminine into a balanced place with the masculine in a society that has been patriarchal for thousands of years. In relation to the 3 planets and energies, I'll be talking about Lilith and the moon in gender. A lot of what's been suppressed with men, which is Lilith, which is about suppression, which I'll talk about in a little bit, has been their feelings and their emotions and their ability to express their emotions and tap into it in a real way. Because, in the patriarchal society, the man isn't supposed to have these feelings. It's, the woman that is emotional and able to express these. So this is kind of at the expense of being able to truly emotionally connect with other people and have real relationships. So men have had a hard time relating because they haven't integrated this part of themselves. For women, the energy of the partner and the mother, and that's what's been accentuated and emphasized at, the suppression of, the independent, wild feminine that has been controlled and put down by the patriarchy all these years. So it's okay to be a mom and have children, and it's okay to be a lover and serve your partner, but it really hasn't been okay to do your own thing. And we've seen it, in the women's rights becoming more and more of a thing, and women are finally coming to a place that, they might be considered equals and are demanding that this is so. So first up, in these ladies, I have Venus. The archetype of Venus represents love, beauty, art, relationships, what we value, our talents, what we're attracted to and what we're attracting into our life, our worth, and money. When I'm going to talk about Venus today, I'm emphasizing the role in relationships because that's where I see the most transformation happening. We're kind of at this point where we're not just like accepting what is, you know, we want what's truly harmonious, what's truly in balance, and what's really fair. So Venus in your chart, you know, similar to last slide, the relationships you're attracted to, your values, what your energy is inviting in, and what you're receptive to, and what you love. How I see Venus transforming. The feminine is taking a more active role in choosing to accept or deny what the masculine is giving. So, you know, of course, Venus has always been about receiving and being receptive, but you don't have to accept shit. You know, you don't have to accept just what is dished out to you if it's not, you know, in harmony with what you really value and what you really love. And so we have the choice to continue engaging in like the imbalanced patriarchal model of relating with one another, where we're exerting power over each other instead of power to each other. And it is, you know, created so many disagreements and divorce and bad relationships and abuse. And so I feel like as we're stepping into the future and modern times, we're learning to choose, you know, to accept only what is positive coming into our lives, what's harmonious, what creates more beauty and art and love in the world. And so Venus is transforming the way we relate to each other, and as a result of this transformation, we get what is called a conscious relationship, which is what I'll talk about in the next slide. So for me also, I haven't really gotten to Lilith yet, but I'm going to in a few slides. But for me, Venus has been kind of this Eve character for astrology, and where Lilith was rebelling and refusing to submit, we have a more accepting and passive goddess. But because of the imbalance that the patriarchy has created, we see Venus rebelling now too and changing the way we relate to each other. So I thought about this question a great deal, and I've discussed it with my best friend a lot over the years, and it's like, what does it even mean to have a conscious relationship? And after thinking about it for a while, this is the definition I came up with. It's a collaboration of two or more souls with the intention and follow through to grow together mentally, spiritually, and physically by complementing each other's talents, strengths, aligning their values, and honoring the love of other with respect, honesty, clear communication, and companionship. And so for me, this is what I want in my life, and this is what I definitely hope that everyone else is calling into their life, you know, instead of, you know, imbalanced things where you're always ending up, you know, heartbroken or getting into situations that are not healthy or good for you. And so, yeah, that's what I thought about that. Next up is the moon. The moon has represented the external mother, the caregiver, the matriarch. She's always watching over us, often shifting shapes, but familiar to all. She is known. She's been with us through all of our past, and she represents emotions, feelings, and intuition. The moon in your chart is where you retreat for comfort and emotional security, where you're most at home for yourself, and your internal emotional self, where you translate your life experiences with feelings and intuitions. It represents also your paternal mother and your relationship with her, and how you mother others and yourself. How I feel the moon is transforming in a few ways, and these are a little gender related here. The first one's not, but we're all learning to build our own inner security and are in the process of weaning ourselves from dependence on external sources for nurturing by implementing ways for self-care and providing that comfort to others. And so, you know, you don't really, you know, you don't need this outside force to take care of yourself. You know, you are perfectly capable of providing your basic needs that, you know, and so I feel like it's really important that people are taking time to make sure, checking in with their feelings about, and like really carry for themselves. And if you see another person having a difficult emotional time and they need comfort and support, being big enough to offer that, you know, whether you're a mother or not. I think the moon is also transforming, you know, in the way that men are being able to emote on a new level. You know, I think most men have been told their entire lives that it's weak to show, you know, tears, or weak to be emotional, and it's a woman's thing. And, you know, it's created a big imbalance in the masculine. And I feel that it's, you know, finally the time for men to start expressing, excuse me, their emotions and, you know, engaging on a deeper level. And then, you know, less women are choosing motherhood as a path and choosing to embody the energy of mother in a new way. And like, for me, I don't have kids. I have sisters that have kids, and that's good and well for them. But for me, I'm, you know, birthing artwork or birthing a festival, or, you know, things of that nature. And you can still, you know, nurture it into creation and have an outlet for that energy. Had an interesting experience that with my own mother that I'll share. And it really helped me learn a lot about self-care. I was really sick as a teenager when I was about 14. And my mom, till that point, had always made really delicious soups. And my grandmother does too, you know, when I'm sick. And I had been expecting this from her, like, where is my soup? Please, can you make this for me? Like, and she didn't make it for me. And I got so angry at her. And so I, you know, dragged myself into the kitchen and I like grabbed a pot and I made it. And, you know, even though I was feeling kind of weak, I like still was able to create the soup that she had taught me to make. And I nursed myself back to health. Then years later, when I had my own apartment and I was living in the city by myself, I didn't have anyone to go to. You know, I was really sick, stuck in bed, and I was still able to, I remembered that lesson that she gave me, that, you know, soon we're going to be separated from one another and they're not going to be able to provide that nurturing experience for you and, like, you know, care for you in this way. So you're going to need to learn how to care for yourself. So I think collectively we're all learning how to do this, whether it's, you know, in sickness and health, we're learning to check in with ourselves and really tap into ways to care for ourselves. This is my favorite thing. I love Lilith so much. And I love this quote because it's very Lilith, but I feel like it's half true because I don't feel like she's reached the happy ending quite yet. And Lilith she was a handmaiden to the goddess Inanna in Sumerian myth. And, you know, she was a really powerful sexual creature. You know, she engaged in Tantra and she taught and practiced Tantra and sexuality. She was independent, free, wild, and, you know, respected. And the next time that Lilith is seen, she's Adam's wife in the Bible, and he asks her to lie beneath him and submit to him. And when she doesn't submit to him, he gets angry and she leaves. And, you know, in our culture for so many years, it's like marriage has been this like binding force where, you know, the woman is kind of trapped at the will of the man and unable to make her own decisions. And if she doesn't, you know, submit, then, you know, she's not good. So for her choice to go against Adam, the first man, she got demonized. The energy was heavily looked down upon, being, you know, a wild, independent woman that's able to, you know, have sex and do what she wants, you know, it's not okay. So, you know, she seeks what she really wants in life. She doesn't just accept, and she's not very passive. You know, she's out there. It's more of a masculine energy, but it's not. It's like the feminine energy that, you know, is able to make action, able to direct, and knows what she wants. She's not just going to accept anything. So especially not, you know, inequality. That's the main thing, I think, for the Lilith story is, you know, she wanted to face her partner and be able to, you know, be respected as equal to him. And when he didn't do that for her, you know, she got shamed and shunned and suppressed. And, you know, the more docile and submissive feminine traits were accentuated, and the mother and all this. So Lilith in your chart is the shadow self that feels it would not be loved or accepted if exposed. It's the underbelly, it's the taboos that each individual has, and they wish to be explored and unleashed, expressed and accepted. But, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, like come out in the open if you feel that like your dark shadowy side is going to be judged. So it can be a muted point in your chart where it hasn't been brought into consciousness and you're not aware of it, or you're trying not to be aware of it. Or it can be where you're raging and you're a little out of control and you are, you know, a bit ruthless. You know, the negative expressions of Lilith can be pretty vengeful and upset because she's had to suppress this energy. So it really, you know, runs the gamut. But it's ultimately where you hold a great deal of power that could be harnessed and challenge the unfairness of our patriarchal society. And so how Lilith is transforming, you know, more and more we're realizing that it's okay to be wild, it's okay to be sexy and independent, and it's okay to ride on top. You know, and I think men like it too. It's like women definitely do. But by embracing this aspect of the self, we have a more full expression of the divine feminine. So it's not about just, you know, the Venus side where it's all beauty and art and love and, you know, connection. You know, it's bringing that connection from the heart also, you know, down into the sexual chakras and, you know, enjoying, you know, that part of yourself. And we're starting to recognize the distortions that occur when you suppress and instead of expressing all of these things. And I feel like we're making strides into bringing this aspect out of the shadows and the light. And you can pretty clearly see how sexuality has been distorted. If you just look, you know, look around, there's like, it's been pretty distorted by the images in porn and the objectifying of women and their sexuality. And then, you know, the vilifying of a woman's sexuality by doing things like slut shaming her, or you're a slut if you go out there and have a sexual experience. While men have had the opportunity to pretty much do what they want, even at, you know, the abuse of women, which is pretty terrible. So I'm happy to see that like more people are embracing this energy. You see like kind of Tantra has kind of made a comeback and people are getting really into that and, you know, finding ways to connect and have sacred sexual relationships that, you know, promotes equality and, you know, finding safe ways to get the shadow work done and, you know, with a partner or by yourself. This next quote, it really resonated with me. It clearly states what happens when we deny our self-worth and suppress We all deserve love, harmony, and respect. It's our birthright, and I'll read it. When you hide, shield, or pretend to be something less, you cannot obtain balance. Instead, you create a loathing or shameful existence for yourself. Not willing to accept all sides breeds shame for who you are and attracts less than your birthright has to offer. So I feel like if we're able to truly combine all these energies together, you know, we'll have a much more whole representation of what the feminine is, you know, whether you're a man or a woman, and how to integrate these things. So we need all of these aspects of the feminine online before we can truly find a balance with the masculine. When the moon and Venus are in harmony, we experience emotional connection. We put energy and nurturing into our relationships, and we care for ourselves and we care for our others, and we really value that, you know, the feelings we have and the connections we have for other people and ourselves. When Venus and Lilith combine, you know, it leads to very empowered relationships. It's how I feel natural love would be, you know. It just seems kind of like a man-created thought that just because we were born with different body parts, you know, we're all still human. And so a natural love would honor equality, you know, and would honor that that's just a reflection on, you know, your natural counterpart, and complement, and not one or the other is more important. It doesn't hold back in love with Venus and Lilith combining, you know, all of that, you know, suppressed energy, when healed, you're able to actually have, you know, true deep connections and not have to fear holding back these desires that you've been putting down. And it's more of a tantric sexual connection and less of you know, just fucking. You know, it's like really like honoring the other person and coming together to express your desires. And when the moon and Venus combine, or not Venus, when the moon and Lilith are in harmony, you know, we're able to, without fear, face our darker emotions, the rage, fear, jealousy, all of those things. They, you know, they need our attention and healing. And if they're coming up, you know, instead of pushing them down or hiding them, I feel we need to come to a place where we're illuminating the shadow so that it can be nurtured into a healthier expression of the wild feminine. And so I came up with a few exercises. I wanted to make this practical for everyone, and so I thought these up, ways to bring these three aspects of the cosmic feminine into harmony with self. I'll share those with you. So I came up with this Venus exercise for receiving. And so the two ways that I found we block ourselves from what we want and like what we really want to attract into our life by, you know, A, not asking for it and not putting it out there, you know, just kind of passively standing around and waiting for whatever it is that you want in your life to happen. Hasn't worked, but also, you know, going out there, and you don't have to be masculine about it. You just have to put it out there and then, you know, allow it to come in. And then not recognizing you're worthy of receiving is the second one. And if you don't feel like, you know, if your self-worth is low and you don't feel like you should be receiving love, or you're not good enough to get this or that, you know, that's like the main lie that we tell ourselves. And, you know, you end up accepting those disharmonious relationships that aren't really healthy and for your higher good. So the exercise that I want everyone to do when they get a moment is to write down, and you don't have to do it during this talk at all. These are exercises you can do at any time on your free time. So write down the things you love about yourself and why you're an amazing individual that's totally worthy of receiving. Include any special talents or skills that are unique to yourself and what you think you have inherent in you to give. Knowing that you have a gift to give makes it easier to know that you're worthy of receiving. Keep the paper on your altar or somewhere you can look at it at any time that you're having trouble seeing your own worth. And make sure that you're, checking in with that, and then also make sure that, that you're always open and asking for what you truly want in life and not just accepting, what's given if it's not what you wanted. The moon exercise, music has always been, for me, like an art that really helps me tap into my feelings and emotions. And I had a friend recently tell me I was at a festival, and they told me they stopped listening to music because it made them feel their feelings. And that was like really interesting to me because, yeah, that's denying that you even have them. It was a man. But I feel like it's a really good therapy to be able to use. So I came up with this one. So the assignment is you pick out a song for each emotion, one for anger and rage, one for sadness, and then one for happiness and joy, and then one for when you're just mellow and neutral and chill. And you can dance to the songs, or you can just listen quietly, close your eyes, really feel into it. And as you go through each song, see what comes up for you emotionally, see how your feelings are engaging with the music, and really tap in, think about the emotion and why you chose that song and how it makes you feel. And, notice that it changes, just like the moon is always going to be changing cycles and darting around, and your emotions are always going to be changing and the tides are moving. Know that it's pretty temporary, and it's okay to feel what you do in the moment. And so that's that exercise. And then the Lilith exercise, healing Lilith, involves facing our fear of judgment for being who we are fully by embracing our shadow with openness and knowing the richness of the light and the dark. So the first thing is write some of your suppressed desires out, no matter how dark, and in fact, write your darkest desire out, something that you would never tell anyone. Then write out something that others have made you feel ashamed for, or what a moment you felt really ashamed. And it's not something that you really should be ashamed of, but you feel like you might have been judged or, shunned or treated poorly if you had shared this about yourself. Write that down. And then finally, write down something wild that you always wanted to do and something that makes you feel free. And it can be something that can't even, happen in reality, but something that you really makes you feel good and wild and really connects you with that Lilith energy in a positive way. And then find some way to release this paper, whether you burn it or throw it into the ocean or, do what you got to do. Let's see. So by bringing these three fundamental aspects of the feminine into harmony and health, we are better able to receive love, know our true feelings, and spend a little time on the wild side. And at this point, I'd like to, open the discussion up with everyone, and, we can ask questions or talk about what it means to bring these all into harmony.
Wonderful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Tia. Do you have any more slides after this?
I don't.
All right, perhaps you could stop share at the top of the screen.
Let's see, no, I need to plug my laptop in. Hold on, just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. Just kind of pittered out on me for a second there. Good timing, though. I hate technology. I have Chiron and Gemini and Mercury retrograde and my chart. So I'm always having some technological, I don't know, I'd rather not have a phone, but.
You're still there? Okay, great. Okay, everyone, any questions or comments for Tia?
Hi, Tia.
Hi.
I had a thought as you were talking about Venus, and I like how you addressed how, as far as say the self-worth, to me it was looking at the Taurus side of Venus, which I tend to feel like the Taurus second house side of Venus, that I tend to feel like is not addressed enough because that is the relationship to yourself, and how that that's kind of been conditioned out of us to do. And I feel like if we don't really address that Taurus side of Venus, that's why we take on, and get in relationships with people that are not good for us, and override our own sense of self as far as things that are supposed to be important to us, what we need, just for even say survival. So I thank you for this talk.
Yeah, I feel like it's, most important to be able to have a good relationship with yourself before you're ever even ready to enter into any partnership. And that's why Taurus in the second house come far before Libra and the seventh house, because that's the foundation work for you to even be able or capable of engaging in a relationship with another person, is valuing yourself enough and being true enough to your own values to recognize when someone isn't respecting them, and be able to move along.
Yeah, I was even thinking too, as you were talking, that it comes before even the fourth house in Cancer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, and I've even had this question myself, and I've heard it from other people, when they talk about, take care of your moon, take care of your moon, take care of your moon. And what most people, say, well, how do I do that? And you don't know how to do that if you haven't addressed that Taurus and second house, side of Venus. So that's a thought that was.
We're not really even, we cry and do all this stuff as babies, but, we're aware we have a body, but, until you get a little older, the mother shows you how to, tries to figure out how you're feeling. And eventually you get that skill. But, yeah, it's interesting that the organization of the signs kind of like, it's like a progression of, leading into a relationship and then eventually into, more spiritual states later on in the chart. But yeah, that's definitely very important to build the relationship with yourself and set that foundation up for, you to have good relationships in the future.
Okay, any other questions or anything you'd like to share? I just wanted to say, Tia, that I really loved the work you have put into your slides and differentiating these archetypes. You've made it very, very clear. Do you have planets in Taurus yourself?
No.
I think it's
Nothing
interesting
there.
with Uranus.
My Pluto polarity point is in Taurus, though, so I'm heading there.
Ah, well, that's huge.
And I have Mars in Libra, and you know, I have this chart that, you know, I've been trying to please people a long time, but you know, I have to recognize, you know, what I'm worth as a person, and you know, move into that. So
yeah. What I'm loving is the Uranus and Taurus energy, because, you know, Uranus is astrology, Uranus and Aquarius. And Taurus is really bringing things down to earth and allowing us to see very, very clearly, with proof, to learn more about astrology in a very real way. So thank you for expounding on the moon, Lilith, and Venus. So yes, Diana, go ahead. Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that I really loved your exercises. They were wonderful to bring it back to, you know, the practical side of things. I found them refreshing, the questions. So thank you for that.
oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I hope they help you out.
I think it could have been fun if we actually did do the exercises with you here in the meeting and just spend, you know, about a minute or so just jotting down a few little, you know, things about ourselves. But anyway, yeah, they were fantastic, those questions, really good. Yeah. Any other sharings?
What the fuck is that? I don't know what that was. I tried to reopen Zoom meetings and it did some weird alarm, but
I think maybe your sound, your audio came on your computer all of a sudden and causing
or
feedback.
something. Like, I wish it came on 45 minutes ago.
Exactly. Never mind. Never mind.
You know, I thought Mercury interact. Damn.
Okay. What about stressful aspects between these archetypes, between these planets? Have you considered that?
Well, definitely. It can cause quite a great deal of stress if, you know, they're not in balance. You know, if you're suppressing parts of yourself that you really need with Lilith, you know, that is part of your core that would be better for you to express and hold back, then, you know, that's going to affect your relationships. That's going to affect your emotional world. I mean, any of those in combination can be pretty unbalanced. I mean, Venus can get very codependent and, you know, be wanting relationships so much. I see a lot of my friends, you know, in the younger generation, the girls, they want a relationship so badly that, you know, they'll put up with pretty much anything, you know, and it's really sad. You know, so I think by really focusing our energy on healing these aspects and bringing them into, you know, more positive alignment with each other and with the masculine, yeah, it would be fantastic and lead to much healthier individuals and individuals in relationship.
Definitely. Della, did you have a question? Can you unmute? Della?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, just piggybacking on what you just asked, Linda, I have a Mars, Lilith, Pluto conjunction. in the third house, Libra. So I was just curious what you thought about that combination. Anyone in the group, actually.
Well, wow is what I think. Goodness. So which order do they come in? So which one's first?
Mars is first.
Yeah.
Then Lilith.
Yeah.
And then Pluto. And Mars and Lilith are 12 and 13 degrees. And then Pluto's a little further off. And I'll tell you, I'm working on my own personal astrology project, and Lilith is central to my project. So that's why I'm asking.
Excellent. What degree is Pluto?
16.
16. Right. Yeah, that's a stellium. What do you think, Tia? What do you think of this amazing stellium?
Well, I'd say, you know, Mars is how you're directing your energy and acting your energy out. And, you know, you have the drive and ambition to bring the dark feminine energy into the light and out of the shadows, and the work that you're doing with it, with yourself, and what you can share with other people, being conjunct Pluto is highly transformative and necessary for evolving this archetype into something that's more positive.
Thank you.
And
I'm working on it right now.
Well, Libra too, it's like you're in the third house, you're going to be teaching about it or communicating about it, or, you know, sharing the information in some way with other people so that, you know, they can become aware of this energy as well.
Deanna, did you have something else to say?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Great. Della, tell us how it's expressing for you.
Well, currently right now, I guess I've been working on curriculums all around consent culture and just combating the misogyny that I experience in the place where I live. And that's kind of where I thought I was going with this. Like, I designed a curriculum, and then I discovered that men really didn't want to hear it. Like, nobody even wanted to hear what I had written. And basically it's evolving into an astrology project and decolonizing astrology and talking about 2020, the year 2020, and using Black Moon Lilith as the archetype for women of color to find their soul's purpose within their chart. Because I find the other archetypes don't really speak to me, didn't speak to me. Like, even my own chart was kind of flat until I really dived into my Lilith. Which I could understand superficially, but with the Mars and the Pluto, I've been seeking just guidance, and it just keeps taking me deeper and deeper into what Lilith wants. So I see her rising right now in the feminine, and a 2020 is a time where we were all switch back to one indigenous ways and actually honoring the earth. And so that's kind of the progression I see towards 2020 when I look at the stars.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Tia, did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to my experience with my Lilith and how I've learned to work with her and not against her. I have Lilith and Leo in the 7th house. And, you know, you know, as an artist, and, you know, I'm kind of shy. I have a lot of things in Scorpio. And so I'm never like the person, you know, that's like, I need to be in the limelight. I need to be seen. I need to be on stage. I need to have attention. You know, I kind of like quietly skirt around that. But I've been learning, you know, I host festivals and I do events. And the way that I've been using my Lilith is through empowering other people to go on stage, and I do it myself occasionally too, but it's felt really good being a hostess for festivals and hiring performance artists and different artists and gallery artists and DJs and combining them all and then really putting them all equally in the spotlight and, you know, giving their creations the attention it deserves. And it's not just about, you know, me personally, you know, sharing my art and my creations. It's about, you know, doing that 7th house and like sharing the experience with other people who also have creative visions and need an outlet for those. So that's what I've been doing with Lilith.
Beautiful. That's excellent. And I was just thinking of yours, Della, with that Mars, Lilith, Pluto stellium. You know, this could be the expression of masculine energy, and perhaps you've been a loner in this area with that Mars. And Lilith I see as very much like a loner as well, on the outside of society, on the outside of conditioned society. So her expression has been hidden, very deep and mysterious. So bringing that out with the Mars and the Pluto, that's amazing. I love the work you're doing. And Tia, I can really see that operating in you. You're in the 7th house there, Leo, Lilith.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have the confidence. You've brought all this out for us, so that's amazing. My Black Moon Lilith's in Aquarius in the 4th house. And the way I see it is that within myself, I see myself, of course, you know, astrology is so much a part of me. And that is my hidden self. Like when I go out into society, well, of course, you can't talk astrology to anyone, can you? So it's my little secret. And
well, you can, but you might get, you know, some questionable responses.
You just get the same old responses, don't you? You know, and it gets a bit tiresome. So I actually don't even mention it to most people.
Well, you know, really nice though with, you know, the younger generation. I just got back a few weeks ago from doing a tea lounge at a festival, and I had some astrology books in my tea lounge, and I had the Sabian symbols in there and some tarot cards. And pretty much everyone that came in, you know, they wanted to talk their charts, you know, from like, even like this little boy told me to name all of the planets, and he like could name all of them all the way out. And, you know, I feel like younger generations are really getting interested into it because, you know, it's more, you know, I don't know, it's able to express, it's a good language to express what we're experiencing here on Earth. And so I think more and more people in future generations will start using astrology, you know, more and more, and not, you know, it won't be such a judged thing that's just, you know, a pseudoscience, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm just talking about, like, you know, just sitting on the bus and having a chat with somebody, and, you know, most people don't really know that much about it. But of course at festivals and things like that, you're going to have a much more of an interest, of course. Yeah, so any final questions or comments? Okay, I have really loved this meeting. I want to thank you so much from all of us. We're looking forward to seeing you again, Tia. Would you all please thank Tia Quin?
Would you like to add a trusted contact on your profile?
Thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
And,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.